Hey, it's Mike Brennan. We're back with one of our regulars, Kathleen Norton-Schock from Michigan Council of Women in Technology, and she has a special guest today. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathleen and let her introduce that guest and take it away, Kathleen.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Matt. As usual, we always appreciate you allowing us to do this segment on one of the best nonprofits Michigan has to offer, the Michigan Council of Women in Technology. And today is very special because we have Chris Rydzewski, who is a dear friend of mine for many decades now. I hate to say that, but we are, we're boomers.
Boomers.
And Chris has done amazing work at MCWT, and I think she may be continuing a little bit of that moving forward. But she was a longtime board member of ours and a strong volunteer leader for us until about 7 years ago when she became our first executive director, not our first executive director, but probably our longest serving executive director. And she had been a volunteer, which is how we got to be friends, as I said, almost 2 decades ago. Chris, I'm going to turn most of this over to you, but maybe you'd like to give us a little context. How did your journey start with MCWT, and what inspired your passionate commitment to that organization?
Thank you, Kathleen. And by the way, I want to thank you and Matt and Mike for allowing me to be a part of this segment as well. So this is kind of fun. I love this. It's a great way to get the news out to our tech community. But how it all started for me was back in 2005. I had actually taken a business development role with an organization called CompuWare, who at the time was a huge tech company based out of Detroit, and they were a big partner of MCWT. So as part of the new job, I was asked if I would be the liaison, or what we then used to call the champion. And of course I said yes. I always say yes for new opportunities, right? And that's where it began. And it's interesting because a few events after that is really where I became hooked, Kathleen, and you're part of the organization, so you know this very well. But I just want to call out a couple of incidents or events that I had attended that really spoke to me. And the first one was what we call, or at the time, they had a Moxie Day for career women, and it was over at Davenport. And I attended one of the breakout sessions, and lo and behold, our own Tracy Ann Palmer actually led that session. And I got to say, it was so inspirational. She talked about her journey coming from South Africa and coming from with very little, but looking to build something here in the US, right? And that just spoke to me. And that was my first really interaction. And then about a week later, there was another networking event out in Royal Oak. And there was this, I was just trying to take it all in. And there was this amazing female leader who kept talking to all these different groups of people. And I had asked someone to introduce me, and lo and behold, that individual was our Jane Sadlowski, who many of you also know, and who is clearly someone who still inspires me, and just glad to call her a friend as well. But that's kind of where it all started for me back in 2005.
And in a sense, even though you're working for a big company, getting attracted to both of those people is a testament to your own inner entrepreneurial fire, because Jane, in my experience, and I know many, many startups because of what I've done after I left big corporations, Jane is the longest running female founder of a software company in the state of Michigan, to my knowledge. In other words, she founded it, she owned it, she funded it. She did most of that independently and has raised and grown that organization, AMI Strategies, for many years. And she still stays very involved with MCWT and recently got one of our biggest awards, which you can maybe talk about that in a few minutes. But what I remember about Chris, is besides after you were on the board, and we were both on the boards at different times, and then because I was in marketing, I was kind of touching a little bit of everything. But what I remember is that our partnership growth literally was marked by the fact that you headed partnership years after that, when you first joined. And it was so dynamic and continues to this day. And without it, that 501(c), which does so much for girls and women in technology, would never be able to operate. So again, I think I've said thank you over the years, but I'm just going to say thank you one more time, because the energy that you brought to that and then continued to bring when you became our executive leader is just remarkable. So you spent about 6.5 years, and then you took another role after you stopped being our executive director for about a half a year, maybe a little bit more. But in the full 6 years as our executive director at MCWT, what would you say were your 5 greatest accomplishments in that time frame? And that would have been from 2016 forward. Am I correct?
No, 2017 to 2023. So 2017 to 2023. So yeah, thank you, Kathleen, by the way. Yeah, partnership is where my heart had been throughout the years and continued even until I just left more recently, and probably will still be. I think that is one of our components of our secret sauce for MCWT as well. But within the 6-year time frame that I actually was executive director, I feel there were a lot of great accomplishments to be proud of. Obviously, I didn't do everything by myself, right? I mean, I felt like I was like the quarterback or the connector, but it really took a whole army of people to have some of these things happen. But let me just kind of go through that real quickly. So first off, I'm super proud of just the accelerated growth over those 6 years for the organization overall. So back in 2017, we started out with 750 members. In 2023, we were 1,750 members. It's funny. The math is actual. I didn't make it up, but it's like 1,000 more members. And so that's significant. From a partner perspective, we were hovering around 90 partners in 2017, which still is pretty good amount. But we have grown up to 133, sometimes 140, depending on how you look at the numbers, organizations that really support us. So that is very compelling. I know the other speaker earlier talked about, partners, corporate partners, et cetera. So these are corporate partners and technology partners. And then in addition to that, we did add 6 alliance partners, which Michigan Tech News is also one of those, right? So, we realized, some of the like organizations that are trying to do some similar things that we are important to us as well. So that was, there was some growth there. On the programming side, back in 2017, we had 7 programs, and that was K through university for the most part. There may have been 1 or 2 on the career side. Today, or in 2023, 21 plus programs. That's huge. That's a huge, that's amazing when you think about what it takes to even put a program together. And then roughly our revenue back in 2017 was about $1 million. And last year, the numbers are looking at 2.6 million. So there was some considerable growth there. And so super proud of all that. And again, it took some great leadership, from the board, and just lots of great engagement, to get there. And then secondly, okay, I'm going to rattle off because I know we have a small segment here, but second accomplishment I'm super proud of is that we survived COVID. A lot of companies didn't, right?
And a lot of nonprofits. Let's keep in mind, we're a nonprofit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So that was huge. That was huge. 2 big components of that. One, again, the corporate partners still continue to give us money to sustain us. That was huge. We did get we did get some monies from the government and such, but not enough. So, kudos to everybody that kept us alive through those years. The other thing, though, is everything shifted. Our programming was real time, face to face. So all of a sudden, how are we going to move forward? So we had to flip to virtual. And I got to, hats off to the programming teams that really spent countless hours kind of figuring it out. And not only the teams, but also some of the volunteers from the partner community would help us to basically turn over to virtual programming. And that's what we did. So that's another huge accomplishment of ours. The third one I would say is I felt our engagement rocketed during those 6 years. We had a lot of stakeholder groups. We had the corporate community, corporate partner community that we built along with our technology partners. We had our members, we had our volunteers, which, by the way, volunteers like you, Kathleen, that were probably, not to say this in a bad way, but you're probably one of our longest running. I was going to say oldest, but see how I changed that? Longest running volunteer, who had substantial responsibilities. Some of our volunteers come in and out, but some of them really continue year over year, like you did. So thank you to you. But that engagement was huge, and that really helped propel us as well. The fourth accomplishment was the brand. The brand grew throughout those 6 years. Big time.
We have about 2 minutes, Chris. So
the whole thing? Oh,
we're at 2 minutes.
Okay, so the brand grew significantly. We updated the website. We improved our marketing. We did the social. That, in addition to putting on some of those major fundraisers, those were awesome and just really helped us promote our brand. And then the fifth one is our impact across the years and across Michigan. So in 2017, we had roughly about 3,200 people that we touched. In 2023, it was way over 5,000. And we grew from Southeast Michigan to West Michigan to Great Lakes and then beyond. So huge.
Excellent. And this is your first time, not your first time in leadership. Obviously, you had a long, robust career, but your first time in leadership of a nonprofit. For other nonprofit leaders, what are the top 3 things you feel you learned in this period that you would share?
I think my words of wisdom to other nonprofits would be, results do not happen overnight. It takes a strategic vision, and then it takes teams to execute. I think that's obviously, kind of goes without saying, but I think, having not been involved with nonprofit before, it's really hard because you want results faster. And they don't necessarily get there that fast in a nonprofit. So that was a lesson. Secondly, relationships are key. Relationships with the partner community, your board, your educators, the state, they're all part of the ecosystem. And those relationships really do help you to promote and grow your business. And then third, collaboration. I think it's really important for people to feel like they are engaged and they are contributing. So those would be the 3 things.
And I presume you would recommend that girls and women who would like to pursue technology, pursue it using MCWT as a resource?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think
in order to do that, where would they go, Chris, if they had to go online?
So if they went online, MCWT.org. So that's where we have all our programming. We've recently updated our website once again. So we just continue to get better. And we have quite a bit out there. But, for those women that might be interested, I'd say take a chance on MCWT. It's a place where it's safe for your personal development. You're going to learn from the leaders. There's opportunities for mentorships, for internships, career advancement, and everybody that's involved is really looking to pay it forward and lifting up girls and women in tech. So